firstly, could you explain what being the gentleman usher of the Black Rod involves?
Well, it's three roles, really. One is being the Queen's representative in Parliament as a whole, for her, and with that goes all the organisation of all the big state ceremonial events, so organising the state opening of Parliament. I ran the Queen Mother's lying in state, for instance, and the Golden Jubilee celebrations here. So that's one role. Another role is looking after the Queen's residual estate here. The parts of the palace still belong to the Queen and have to be administered and run. I do that as well. And then the third role is what's called the Sergeant-at-Arms, and that's really the daily administrative routine, security, running the building, running the accommodation, running all the facilities, looking after visitors, looking after the press as well. So three roles wrapped up in it.
And where does the name come from?
Well, it comes from my black rod, because the black rod was given to the post holder, created in 1348 as an officer of the Order of the Garter. And he was given a black rod, a thing of great beauty, ebony and gold, to be carried in front of the sovereign, the monarch at the time. And that showed everybody that he was a royal post holder and was empowered to arrest people in prosecution of his duties if the king wanted him to do so. So he was called the gentleman usher of the black rod, because usher is a medieval derivation for a doorkeeper. And so Black Rod kept the doors at Windsor for the Garter ceremonies, and he then, later on, Henry VIII brought him here, and he keeps the doors of Parliament.
And how did you get to be the Black Rod?
Well, I'm the 58th in 659 years, so there aren't many of us, and I'm the first one to be chosen by open competition. Until then, it was always, usually, for a couple of hundred years, always been a military person, in rotation, Army, Navy, Air Force, and so on. And normally they would find somebody retiring from that service and say to the Queen, this is a good man, and the Queen say, that's my choice. This time, the new Labour administration came in and wanted to change that. And so it was an open competition. I saw the advert in the paper and applied for it.
But have you come back from a military background?
Yes, they got, surprisingly, what I think perhaps they weren't looking for, as another military person. But the reason is, if you look at the functions, i.e. being a member of the royal household, organising large administrative, ceremonial functions, wearing a uniform, parading, but also running a big budget, and so on. The only, and security in particular, the only profession that covers all those functions as a given is the military. So it shouldn't have surprised them. Even on the open competition, they got another military man.
And you have a number of ceremonial duties. What's the relevancy of these traditional ceremonies to today's politics?
Well, the first thing is to analyse, is there a function behind the ceremony? And if there isn't, get rid of the ceremony, because it's Ruritanian. It really is. People dressed up in funny kit. Take the state opening, which is the key one. Well, that's the most important political event of the year, because without it, it's the Queen laying out the government's agenda for that coming session of Parliament. Without it, nothing can happen. The allegiance is sworn following it to the crown, and it shows our constitution, actually, the three pieces of it, how it works. So it's a vital event in the parliamentary and political year. Well, okay, if it's that important, why not? And it's been going on, this ceremony, almost unchanged for about 500 years. Well, why not, if it's got a real function, look back to our history and celebrate our history in the way we do so well, and the public love it. But as I say, the relevance is the function of the ceremony, not what we're all wearing, although it may look rather good and be a tourist attraction.
So you think it's important to keep these traditional ceremonies going as a kind of homage to our history?
Yes, I think it shows you, where we've come from, and there's always a reason for the things in the ceremony, which explains the evolution of politics. I mean, for instance, take my great role in it, although I organise it. Actually, I go down, as you know, to the Commons. The Queen sends me down to fetch the House of Commons to hear the government's agenda. Well, they slam the door on me, and I have to knock to get in. Well, that shows, a wonderful historical thing that the monarch is not supreme, the House of Commons is. And they show that by saying, okay, you want us, but he can wait, And that came, of course, from Charles I trying to arrest MPs in the House of Commons. So you start to see it in that light. You get a feel for history and how our freedoms and our system of politics have evolved.